There we go. I think we're live. So I want to say, hey, Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. It is a new year. It's 2022. And if you don't mind, give us a 5x5. Let us know if you can hear us okay. 5x5, please.
I see Casey Rich just joined us here.
Hey, Casey.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Not much, man. Gearing up, getting ready now, rolling up the sleeves. It's time to go to work. And I do have a call to action for everybody tonight as well, and and also two calls to action actually, because we can get started already starting tomorrow. We can actually start getting some good work done. And okay, Voodoo Queen is reporting 5x5. Thank you very much, Voodoo. Old Ager 5x5. Hey, Old Ager, welcome back, buddy. And I also see that Goatfoot Grant is with us, or Grant is with us on YouTube. So welcome to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you back. I know you've been real busy here on Sunday nights in the last several months, so you've missed several of the live streams, but your presence was missed, sir. Okay, well, I thought first of all, we have Caleb here. He's actually putting a steering wheel cover on. He's so dedicated, man. He is with us even though he's working in his car out in the cold. And by the way, as a public service announcement, I'd like to let anyone know who's in the state of Missouri right now that it's a little bit chilly outside, and it has been since last night. So, all right. So, yep. So be sure to put on
anybody in any other state that may be watching us. I know in my area it got down to 7. It was supposed to get to 5, but the wind chill still had it at -11. So it's a little chilly.
It's a little chilly. So
just a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't get a white Christmas. We definitely got a white New Year.
Yep, we did. We did. Yep. So everybody knows it's an open secret. General Assembly is assembling on the 5th of January. Now, there's a lot of stuff to go through, but there's a bill I want everyone to take a very serious look at and consider supporting. And I'll actually get it up on the screen here. And hey, Anthony B. So hello from Arnold. Arnold, okay, is that a Arnold? I'm wondering Arnold, if that's Missouri. Like a town in Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah, Arnold, Missouri.
That's a town in Missouri.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, well, welcome.
South of St. Louis.
Okay, cool. Might join Discord later, says Grant. Yep, Grant, you're always welcome in Discord. Anyone who wants to, follow the link down below, and you can get into the live Discord during this live stream if you want to come in and speak your piece about anything that's going on in the state of Missouri. But I thought I'd start by, pardon me, gang, talking to you guys a little bit about some of the stuff going on here. But the first thing I'd like you guys to consider doing is actually getting on Ron Calzone's Missouri First email list. This is an extremely valuable resource for everybody in real time. So I want you guys to consider that. So basically you go to MissouriFirst.org, and all you have to do is click on join, like so. And then basically put in your information there. Ron does not share information. I know that for a fact. I've known Ron for a while now. So if you would, please fill that out and get on Ron's email list. That will be helpful for all of us during this legislative season. As much as I want to, I can't get out information necessarily as fast as Ron does, because Ron ends up being at the Capitol way more days than I do. So he gets, good information a little bit faster because he's there firsthand. So please consider filling out that form, getting on his email list. I'm on his email list already, actually. And it's a valuable resource for me for producing videos for you guys during the legislative season. So please consider doing so. And then we'll get into the bill here in just a second, unless we wanted to have a larger conversation. Hey, we have Casey on video now. And Rebel Cry is with us. So, Susie Pollock's bill. You guys know about HB 2009. Have you guys heard of that? It's part of the anti-beer flu tyranny. It's where the state says that, for instance, a religious exemption must be accepted. A conscientious exemption must be accepted. a medical exemption must be accepted, instead of the Department of Health actually determining who gets an exemption and who doesn't. So, so we can go back to the way it was pre-2015. So this is, I've got information on this bill. I can show it on the screen. If you guys do look down in the description section of the video here, and actually I've already linked all this stuff up. So the PDF document of the bill here, it's a long read, but if you wanted to read it, it's there. But basically what it does is it makes sure that there is an exemption for, I don't want to say it's an exemption for serums. That's what I wanted to say. And the state basically assures that you will get an exemption if you want or need one. That's what this is about. And in fact, what you see on your screen right now, what I'm showing you, is exactly how it's supposed to look. So basically, you don't have to have, your preacher, sign off on it and write a 2-page letter explaining, what scriptures apply, or an attorney talking about your First Amendment, your Fourth Amendment, and your 14th Amendment rights to be violated if you don't get out of this, serum or whatever. So please consider actually working with this. And what you do to work with this is calling for co-sponsors. So this is the same thing we did with SEPA before, gang. It's the same kind of deal. We call up the Missouri House of Representatives, and we just, actually that's down below too. It's the roster in the description section. And let's start calling up our representatives and asking them to co-sponsor this as soon as possible. The more co-sponsors it has, as we know with SEPA, better chance it has getting through the entire process. So this is the first bill that we're looking at that basically works, let's just say that we're working for anti-COVID tyranny with this bill. And that's exactly what it does, but it works on the serum side of it. It's for, medical, conscientious, and religious exemptions. So one more thing I was going to show you here real quick is Ron Calzone did write a very good, it's an opinion editorial that went into the Missouri Times, and talking about property rights, what property actually is, what the Constitution says property is, and what our property rights are. And I think that leads into something a little bit bigger, because I think we're going to see a bill this year. In fact, I think it's been pre-filed to actually get rid of civil asset forfeiture in the state of Missouri, which is something I think that we should strongly consider, especially since it's such a strong motivator for folks and maybe in law enforcement to do certain things that they wouldn't normally do. So it just prevents corruption. So
yeah, I'm all for that one.
Yep. As far as Casey Rich, you've identified 2 bills, I think, so far. Or no, Ron, I think. Or was it you or Ron that identified 2 bills that looks like it's got some anti-SEPA stuff in it?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact number. I posted it.
Okay.
And, I posted it. It's a couple of them.
Okay.
And one was pretty. Actually, it's about 3 of them. I mean, you put them all together, and they're pretty much far-reaching. They want to register them.
Yep.
Everything else, I can't. Like I said, I don't have them in front of me, so.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm scrolling back here. I'm looking for posts from you. And but I think you're right. I think it had something to do with registration, and we're not going to allow that here in this state. We're going to shut that down. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Gun grabber alert. Rep Patty Lewis, Kansas City, District 205. Let's take a quick look. Okay, let's see. Another long bill, so I don't want to read that. Let's see. Repeal Section 542.271. Enact lieu thereof 16 new sections relating to Firearm Violence Prevention Act with penalty provisions. Yeah, I'm sure that they're all going to be similar to this. And also, too, I'm sure it probably goes into anyone who's had a misdemeanor offense having to register firearms. Probably is what it's probably. Domestic violence cases, that sort of thing. Sounds like something they would do. And of course, they're just using that as an excuse to register firearms. Of course.
Yeah, they keep trying to call it a loophole.
Yep.
pretty sure I saw that one does a lot more than just towards. It's regarding everybody and everything.
Here we go.
I think you're yeah, two specific bills are doing that
Yep.
in combination.
Here we go. House Bill number 1806 to repeal Section 568.045 RSMO and to enact in lieu thereof one new section relating to offense of endangering the welfare of a child with penalty provisions. There we go. Here we go. Knowingly fails to secure a readily available firearm as defined in section in the presence of a child. Well, who oversees that? I wonder. If you have children in the house, who comes into your house to see how you store your firearms? That'll be the state.
Nobody, because it ain't going to pass.
That's right. Well, no, what I mean is I'm not reading
the answer to that one.
Yep.
But you notice they all got penalty provisions, and
they
yet
do.
They're wanting to take the penalty provision out of SEPA.
Yep.
Go figure.
Yep. And let's see. House Bill 1807. Let's see. To amend Chapter 571. 571, wasn't that in SEPA? RSMO? By adding thereto.
571. 571 is the chapter that does apply. That 571 is weapons offenses section under Missouri revised statutes.
Okay, gotcha. I don't have them all memorized, but I just remember seeing 571 several times in the SEPA legislation. So they were referring to it probably. So to amend 571 RSMO by adding thereto two new sections relating to the sale and transfer of firearms with penalty provisions. Hey guys, isn't this wonderful? All these bills being put forth by all these Democrats with all these penalty provisions, but SEPA can't have penalty provisions. Can't have that in SEPA. But when it's anti-gun...
That tells you which bill rocks the boat.
Yes, it does. Yep. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to start reading your comments here real quick. Let's see. Oh, Hunter, the Parmesan cheese expert, is with us also. In you guys might know him as Joe Mama.
That name is hilarious.
Yeah. He says, cheers, Pats, and cheers, Patriots. Hey, of course, Hunter, you're welcome to come on, buddy. And Matt Perry's with us. Hey there, buddy. Let's see. We should need exemptions, no control, or to control our own bodies. I agree, Matt, but unfortunately, something's happened where the Department of Health in the state of Missouri can actually do stuff unilaterally without the General Assembly or even without the governor. And I think who they're listening to is the CDC, World Health Organization, or the National Institutes of Health.
You know, I'm surprised somebody just hadn't put forth a bill saying that you don't have to take it and you can't lose your job.
Yep.
Somebody should have put that law, even if they thought, well, it might lose in court. Well, let them take it to court.
Yep.
Till it goes to court. You know, if you pass that law, till it goes to court, it's still in effect. So that's what I don't understand. A lot of these guys are just like, you know, it's like, well, you know, we'll do this next year. Well, we can't really do this. It's why not? Why don't you just take the initiative, do it, and let them challenge it in court.
Yep. Well, that
sounds like Biden.
Yeah, it does. Hey there, Rebel.
Now, here's my question. What does Article 1, Section 23 of the Missouri Constitution say?
Caleb? Article 1,
Article
Section
1,
23.
Oh, man, I need to actually refresh myself on that one.
Yeah, Ron actually read it to me here a couple of months ago. Go ahead.
Basically, it says that unless you are a felon, your right to keep and bear arms cannot be questioned. Therefore, all these bills they are submitting are against the Missouri Constitution.
There we go. So they should be going on the oathbreaker list.
Cannot be questioned. It says, quote unquote, the end of it says, nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit laws which make the possession of the firearms by a felon or those who are deemed mentally infirm, which, by the way, in Missouri laws, in Missouri, someone being declared mentally infirm is really hard to do.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a good thing Joe Biden's not here then.
Yeah,
But
he's
see,
mentally
that's the
unfriendly.
problem is we don't actually stick to the Missouri Constitution. We never bring it up. So all these laws saying you can't carry a gun in the cities on public transportation, it's unconstitutional. You can't carry it in, say, the state building. It's unconstitutional. It's against the Missouri Constitution.
Yep. Well,
Yeah, and then there's there's also Article 1, Section 3, which is a wonderful one as well. But that's for other uses.
yep. Well, you've made a good point, Rebel Cry. So basically, we're going to have to take this representative to task, make sure her name ends up in the Oathbreaker list on the website, which we will be getting done this week. We're going to start putting people on the Oathbreaker list on the website. Missouri Freedom Initiative.
But here's my other question, Patrick. So all these Republicans are now coming out in support of these anti-COVID bills, right? Well, it's too little too late. Like, most of us are getting fired on the 5th.
Yep.
Well, okay. So you did nothing for us.
That's
all
right.
This is ammo for them to try and get reelected.
That's correct. You see, what they've done is they've played fast and loose with your job. They because they want everyone to be in as much pain as possible going into the next election cycle, so we can bring in more Republicans that will do nothing again.
Exactly.
So that's all
we
it's all
cannot
about.
be giving them props for anything.
Yep.
They failed to call a special session or to put pressure on Parsons to force a special session when it would have actually helped us.
Yep. Yeah. So Parsons has failed us. He's failed the state of Missouri. He's failed, basically every resident of the state of Missouri, and we need to remember that. And Parsons be put on notice here. I'm very close to putting you on the Oathbreaker list. You could have protected the Missouri. Go ahead.
We need to remember come election. So last election, I and many others were like, okay, Rick Combs is a conservative option.
Yeah.
And all the Republican lackeys would not vote for him because they had to vote Republican and see what they got us.
Yep.
Yep.
You see, that's the way they play the game, man. That's the way they play.
Well, Parson didn't get my vote. He got Rick Combs got my vote.
Yeah.
Same here, but we're a vast minority.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yep.
So how do we get the word out to all the, lackeys?
Get the word out to I'm sorry, say that one more time.
How do we get the word out to all the other people who will vote for anyone with an R next to their name?
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's an education process that takes some time. This is alternative media stuff. I mean, that's one great thing about our organization. Our organization literally is not about the right-left paradigm. We're about the Constitution of the United States. We're about the Missouri Constitution and
exactly.
And the Declaration of Independence. That's what we're about. And so that's what we fight for. So we're not interested in a lot of the other garbage that's going on right now. Hey, welcome to Grant, who just joined us on Discord.
Hey, Grant.
Turn your mic on, Grant.
Yep. Hey, he was saying in there, yeah, I think a lot of us voted for Rick. And Grant said this is Parsons' fault.
I voted for Rick. I voted for Rick Combs too, and I was, like, not only that, like, I really wonder why people aren't really taking advantage of this opportunity that we have with Parsons and Eptitude, because both Dems and Republicans hate him right now.
Yep.
He could easily be recalled.
Yeah, but at this point in time right now, is that even wise? We have a massive election.
Yeah, I agree. That is the real question. Is it wise?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, though, it is something that could be on the table if people really wanted to do it.
Sure. You know, that should always be an option. We're having a massive, there's a lot of folks up for election in Missouri here this year in 2022. So I'm not sure that it's even necessary to do that at this point in time. But I'm very disappointed in Parsons. And Casey, you wanted to say something.
Well, yeah, like I said, we're coming back to, too little too late for this legislation, because a lot of people already been let go, fired, or whatever else. That's why I've been harping on it since back in August?
Well, we all have.
I mean, he's
And this
yeah.
this this
Parsons
is
has
why I keep
failed
harping
big
about
time.
this is why I keep harping about counter economics. That's why I say I just to put it blunt, I say screw the system, build your own.
Yeah. And we can,
Uh,
and we will, but
anyways,
go ahead.
all right. As far as Parsons goes, even if you recalled him, I don't know who's going to take his place. I mean, Lieutenant Governor's running for the Senate, right? U.S. Senate.
Uh, Parson?
Kehoe? I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Attorney General. Never mind. But
Okay.
yeah, that's the thing, though. Even if you get rid of Parson, who's going to step up and take his place?
Yep. Well, I was kind of hoping the Attorney General would run for governor, but he's wanting Senate. And
Yeah,
there's a lot of issues here with that too. Eric Schmidt, I just love the guy to death, but what is he trying to accomplish going into the Senate? I mean, there's just not enough good people there to get anything good done in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
Same thing with the House of Representatives.
I think he just buys into that and thinks that, oh well, maybe I could make a change there.
I'll make a change.
Yeah. Well,
No, he'll get
it's not gonna
steamrolled.
happen.
K Street will come in and own his office at some point. I shouldn't say that because Ron Paul never got bought off.
Yeah.
The thing
But
is, though,
it's
you
hard. It's hard to not wind up in a bind there. Even if you're not bought off, you're blackmailed.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Casey.
I mean, you look at Cuomo up there in New York. They finally got rid of him, and that crazy lady that took his place is just as bad or worse. So even if you got rid of Parsons, what's going to step up and take his place? The only good thing about maybe a recall, maybe the threat of a recall might get him to do something, if we need something done from him.
Yep. Well, we're still in a pretty good position here. Let me give you guys, or those of you listening on YouTube, the tactical position for organizations like ours that are for liberty, for rights, for the Constitution of the United States. In Missouri, we have about 66 to 70% of our legislature is quote unquote Republican. And of course, the other half is Democrat. And we have the ability to pretty much get any conservative bills through in Missouri that we really need to. The dynamics of that I'll talk about in a second. But it's if the governor vetoes something, that's where we need, all Republicans hands on deck. We don't need all Republicans hands on deck to get most bills through, to get to the governor's desk. But if there's a veto, that's where we need them. And that's where they play fast and loose with a whole bunch of different things, and people get compromised and this and that and the other thing. People get bought off, threatened. I don't want to say threatened. We saw this with SEPA. What year was it? 2014? When it was Jay Nixon that actually vetoed SEPA, went back to the Senate, and then we missed it by one vote. One Republican refused to vote for it. But he voted for it to send it to the governor's desk. And then suddenly he didn't, when it came back to the Senate desk. So this kind of stuff happens. However,
I wonder which one it was. I don't remember which one that
I don't
was.
remember either, but I don't think he's there anymore. So, I don't think there's anything, we could do about that. We are going to start working on the list on the website for oath breakers. We have got to start pointing out, like, for instance, this gal that's putting these 3 bills through, these anti-gun bills through, she's got to go on the oath breaker list, because once again...
Where is that one from?
Hang on. Someone said, that's my rep. Was that you, Goatfoot, that said that? Let's see. Patty Lewis. Oh, Kansas City, District 25.
No,
that
was when you were going over HB 2009.
Oh, HB 2009. Oh, Pollock.
I saw Chuck Basie sponsored it.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I know there was. I think I remember seeing that. And of course, that was someone who is in. If I remember correctly, I think it was Raytown.
Okay. Well,
Raytown area.
Was gonna actually say that I want to let everyone know that there's, and I'm going to get to your comments here in just a second here because there's a couple here I'd love to hit. But we are in a very good position here in the state of Missouri for the reasons I put in the description for the YouTube video. There's a lot of crap going on in the federal government. A lot of people are getting very, very angry. They're getting very tired of this tyranny coming out of D.C. The big plan, of course, is social credit scoring, serum mandates, that sort of thing. And then ultimately social credit scoring. That's where they're going with it in conjunction with the Federal Reserve and the digital dollar. But in Missouri here, we have grassroots organizations growing up like crazy. I mean, I hate to say that grassroots organizations are growing like weeds, but they really are. And if you live in Missouri, that means something, because like the weed pressure out here is just insane. Anyone who has a garden out here knows this. But it's pretty encouraging. I'm feeling pretty good going into this year. It's not just our group. It's not just Ron Calzone's group. It's not just Jody Grace's group. There's 417 Freedom Fighters on Facebook. They've got a pretty big group. Actually, I'm going to make a video here soon acknowledging all these groups on Facebook. They don't have a media presence with video or anything like that, but they do have a Facebook presence. And we need to start acknowledging them as well. There's some pretty powerful big groups in there, some with as many as 10,000 people. So if we take this seriously, we get the good bills done here in Missouri, we have an opportunity to quite possibly become one of, in fact, probably number 2 or number 1 freest state in the United States in 2022. But we got to do the work, gang. This isn't going to happen by itself. You can't wait for your neighbor to do it. You can't wait for, Casey Rich to do all the work. He can't do all the work. Grant can't do all the work. Neither can Caleb, and neither can I. It's going to take all of us. And this is, once again, going back to the phone calls and emails and visits to Jefferson City, strategic visits to Jefferson City. It's expensive to go there. KC, I've met up with you in Jeff City several times. It's not cheap to go to, KC. Gas is more expensive than it was before. And if you're staying overnight, there you've got that expense, not to mention the food.
Yeah.
And the new gas tax that went through.
Yeah, thank you, Shats.
Yeah, the federal
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Here's another
infrastructure.
Another bill to highlight Sarah Walsh's bill to rescind the gas tax.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll take care of that here in the next video. Actually, I did see that. I wanted to. My mind is so hyper focused now on the anti-beer flu tyranny right now. And by the way, it didn't escape me that KC, in fact, Ron had sent me some emails on those very same bills as well. So KC and Ron, thank you very much for your work. For identifying those. Those just need to die in committee. So
we got to make sure they die in committee.
Yep, we do. But I don't think a whole lot. And by the way, I've got to find out now if the Missouri Police Chiefs Association is spending time up in Jefferson City this year. So I'll find that out from my contacts. And if they're spending time up there, I'll let you guys know, because we got to go up there and spend some time up there too then.
Can I throw an idea at you?
Sure.
As far as a lot of these committees and stuff, even if it's something we figure the Republicans would keep from getting out of it, we should have people calling the committee leaders. What do you call that guy? The chairman? Calling the committee chairman and voicing your opinions on it, sending emails. Get it started early. Just don't talk to your representatives. Say, yeah, this bill here. Talk to those committee chairmen. Say, hey, you got this bill. You got such and such bill that really needs to come out of there. You got another one that shouldn't get out of it. Because you start getting a bunch of people doing that, like, my God, these people know every damn bill that's coming through.
Yep.
Yeah, the chairmans are really important. I agree with that, Casey Rich.
Yes.
Yep.
You need to put them on alert, man. They need to know that everybody's watching everything that's coming through.
Yep. Well,
and whatever they're trying to stall.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
I remember that for SEPA. And I can't remember the name of the guy I dealt with because I couldn't get a hold of Senator Crabcakes. He wasn't returning my phone calls. So I went to the sub-chairman and White. His last name was White. So I started, literally calling him up every single day. Say, I'm going to keep calling you every day until you can get Krabby Cakes to give me a call. because this is on you now. He is not returning my phone calls. You are the sub-chairman. You're taking my phone calls. And he says, well, anyone could be sub-chairman, not just me. It could be anyone. I said, no, I'm going to be dealing with you because you're actually listed as sub-chairman. So
we made you chairman.
Yep. That's right.
I was going to use another word, but
Yep.
Oh,
and crab cakes, by the way, is our pet name for Huff. And also remember now, we do have Jabba the Shats. So we'll be dealing with him this year as well.
Jabba the Shats.
We got to get that. We got to figure out a way to get that guy to come out and say something about this push.
I still say we should fax them tormenting memes.
See,
hey,
he responds to people on Twitter. He already broke the first rule of
yeah, but the only thing
media.
I could get out of him once I said, what are you going to do about all these, Leos? The only thing I ever got from him was on Facebook. He said, well, I support the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And I come back and I say, yeah, we know you did that, but now this has happened. What are you going to do about it? He won't say anything. We got to, I don't know how to turn this guy. I guess got to just go up there.
Or just go to his district.
There's an idea, man.
Yep. And I do want to answer a question here real quick. Everyone's asking.
Franklin County, isn't he?
Franklin County? I believe that's where Jabba the Shats comes from, yeah.
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah, I grew up in there.
Where he's at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Also known as Mos Eisley. Yeah, sorry. There's a nerd joke there. It's in there. Just look for it. And people are asking about the gold and silver bill that I want to do. I am very, very near to getting that polished up. So I'm hoping literally within a week or two on the outside, because I have a heavy duty work week this week. I'm in regular work. I'm hoping to get that done. So yes, I'm still working on that. I've unfortunately been slowed down by a whole bunch of things. I think I've told you about many of them. Lawsuit is one of them. I've been dealing with that. Not to mention some other things that I guess I haven't really told the group about that I had to deal with. Had to do with the organization and this and that whistleblower situation, and other situations as well. Like I said, guys, I'm constantly under attack. That never ends. But don't worry, I'm still working on it. And no one else has put up, and I did find out, no one else is putting in a bill for that. So I guess it'll be us. We'll be the ones doing it. We must be cautious. Matt Perry. I love it, man. Little quote from Star Wars there. Going into Mos Eisley. That's right. Let's see. Show Me the Truth says, I'd rather have McCloskey or Schmidt as senator than Greitens. Yeah, Schmidt actually would be the best choice for senator. I just wish he'd stay here and be governor. Greitens is...
I'd rather send the garbage one off to the Senate and then keep him here.
Yeah. Yep. So
but
that's...
Would he run for governor, though?
Yeah. Well, if Schmidt stays behind, he can run for governor.
But would he?
No, he's interested in higher office than that. I mean, clearly he's going into the Senate, or he wants to go into the Senate. That's where he's got his eye. So a U.S. senator position is considered a better position than than a state governor.
I think Ashcroft's looking at governor for 24.
Okay. So
I wanted Rick Combs though.
Yeah, Rick, what you doing, buddy?
As do I.
Okay, so at any rate, I think that going forward from this point on, guys, I mean, I'm deadly serious. We're going to need to start making phone calls and sending emails, and we're going to start with the Pollock bill, if you don't mind. I'm going to bring it up again, and this is Susie Pollock's bill. And
hey, can I say something real quick?
You bet. Go ahead.
Why I see this on the chat? Let's see. What's this? Show Me the Truth 1611. It's got a question here. Are y'all going to push for a bill that makes gold and silver legal tender in Missouri this year? Second question. By the way, do you think cannabis will be legal this year? I want to bring something up.
Okay.
There is I got it on here. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Oh, it's the initiative to put it on the ballot.
the initiative to put it up for a vote. It's a Republican, believe it or not. His name is Shamed Dogan. I think he's out of Baldwin, Missouri, up there by St. Louis. And he's proposing a constitutional amendment legalizing marijuana for adult use. I've read through the bill. A lot of it I really don't like, especially with the taxation and stuff like that. But there's one really good thing in it that I have not seen in a lot of other bills, because I know there's going to be like a couple of initiatives that you got to get signatures for, and all these initiatives and other bills I've seen in other states. What they do, first they tax everything, which sucks, but the second thing they do is that businesses and the corporations get to manufacture and sell all they want, but the individuals are always only allowed so many plants. What sucks about that, besides the fact you're only allowed to grow so many plants, is in order for them to know whether you or not you're only growing that many, that means they have to be able to check on you. In other words, coming to your home or whatever, or you probably have to register or whatever if you're going to grow it. And that's why I've always hated most of these bills. But from what I've read in this one, all it says is that each individual will be allowed to grow their own, and there's no limit or anything on it, which is, to me, that's great. To me, that would, even the other stuff I don't like, it won't matter, because I ain't got to worry about paying taxes on it. So if I can grow my own and I can grow as much as I want, and I don't have to register it, and no one's going to be checking on it. So that's the one thing in there I really like on that. And in fact, I'm probably going to try and hit Jeff City this week, because I want to hook up with that dude and talk to him about that, and make sure there's no amendment to take that away. Because if he's going to try and pass this, everybody's going to be throwing a bunch of amendments in there. I'm just wondering how many Republicans would be on board with this, or would they not?
You're talking about the marijuana bill?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
HJR 83.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good question.
It'd be great to have that, because it's getting the government out of another place.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but the thing about this, though, is, like I said, as far as individuals growing their own, unlike almost every other bill in any other state or any other initiative or any initiatives that they're going to be getting signatures for this year, it doesn't say nothing about there's no limit on what you can grow. You don't have to register it, so no one's going to be checking on you, and that's huge. Because then you ain't got to worry about anything else if you're allowed to grow your own. Then you know what I'm saying, you ain't got to worry about what a business does or nothing. And that's, like I said, I mean, it ain't a perfect bill, but as long as that stays in there, I mean, that's probably about as close you're going to get to a really good bill. Like I said, I looked at those initiatives that they're going to have to get signatures for, and there's limits on what people can grow, but the businesses can grow and sell as much as they want. It's like these people care more about corporations than they do us.
Mm-hmm.
It's BS. But this one's pretty. Like I said, I got to talk to this dude, because I guess he pre-filed it. Can you change stuff in it before it goes to actually being filed? I mean, if you're the one that wrote the bill,
I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely need to talk to him on that. I mean, I don't know where the rest of you guys are on that, but this is going to be a pet project of mine, anyways. If I got to do it solo, I'm going to do this one. But that and a bunch of others.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
But I just thought I'd bring that up to answer that question that person put in the chat.
Yep.
So hopefully they heard that.
Yep. He also wrote, here's an idea.
Come on up to Jeff City.
Yeah. Here's an idea. Why not scrap the property taxes and collect tax by sales taxes on cannabis? Property taxes on cannabis? Is that what's in that bill, Casey? That's really weird. It would normally be a sales tax.
I can't.
No, it's sales tax.
I don't think
He's saying scrap property taxes and shift taxes over.
period.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say I don't remember that in there. That wouldn't fly anyways.
Yep. I agree. We're
That would chill that bill before it even could get out the gate.
Yep. And by the way, I've done some preliminary work I did last year or in 2021 on getting rid of property taxes in the state of Missouri, because that was actually my main drive. And I found out very quickly the resistance to that would be quite high. It's very unfortunate, but it's true. So as far as getting, basically property taxes shifted to sales tax is something that's not likely to be embraced by the Republican caucus, at least not in a meaningful way. And I'm sorry to say that, but that happens to be the case. That's what we'll work on here pretty soon once we beat them over the head with other freedoms that we need back. Matt Perry says, I know from Oregon that as soon as it's recreational legal, the floodgates open and no one checks private people, only if you get caught for something else. The state goes after businesses, not private citizens. That said, after legalizing pot, they decriminalize all drugs. So, law enforcement.
I don't know. This ain't Oregon, man. Oregon's a little more liberal. Yeah.
Law enforcement doesn't have the numbers to enforce pot laws for business.
I'll give you an example. Back in early 2000s, I don't know if you guys ever heard of I can't even think of the name of it now. Salvia divinorum. It was that for a long time. I mean, it's still not illegal on the federal level, but here in Missouri, there was a representative out of Palmyra, Missouri. She only ran for one term, and the only bill she ever put forth was one making Salvia divinorum illegal when it wasn't illegal anywhere else in the country. And sentence for it, first time caught with possession of it, 7 years prison, no parole. And I think that's still on the books. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Missouri's a little more conservative when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, he knows that. That's why he moved here. He moved here from Oregon to get away from Oregon.
But I think it's BS. I couldn't believe that, man. You're going to send somebody prison 7 years for something like that? Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still on the books as far as I know.
It is. I've seen it. It's still there, which is ridiculous. There's no such thing as a legal control over what someone uses, possesses, or manufactures.
Yep. Yeah, well, once again, that goes into property rights.
A lot of these politicians talk about freedom, but boy, they want to control your mind and consciousness. They don't want you thinking outside of the box. That's for damn sure.
No. And that's, part of the double thinking.
Alcohol to numb your mind, and cigarettes and caffeine to make you get up and go to work. That's it. Beyond that, they don't want you touching anything else. Just be a good little worker bee.
1984 is that instruction manual.
Yep, that's right. Yep. So, guys, remember, House Bill 2009 to the description section. I'm starting my phone call tomorrow. My phone calls. I'm going to support this bill. And it's just, once again, it's something that Susie Pollack had put in, I think, in 2021. And it almost made it to the finish line, but unfortunately we had some problems getting the Senate up and going after they passed SEPA. The Senate more specifically, the Democrats side of the Senate didn't want to work anymore. They just decided they wanted it to take off early for the year, I guess. But this one almost made it across.
They held everything up until they said the last minute so that it wouldn't make it through.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of bills they left on the table last year.
They did. And we can't let that happen this year. And anytime something's sitting in a committee, for more than, a couple, 3 weeks, guys, we have got to turn up the heat big time. We can't let this kind of stuff happen anymore. And we do have evil Republicans. I'm sorry. We do have corrupt Republicans. I'm sorry. What's the right word? So
far, you've been right.
Yeah. We do have some interesting Republicans in Missouri And they like to say that they're as conservative can be. That would be Jabba the Shatz. That would be Senator Crabcakes, also known as Senator Huff. And then also Caleb the Rodent. And that would be Caleb Rowden, by the way. And those are the three turds in the punch.
Sad now.
What's that?
When you say Rowden, it makes me sad.
Yeah, sorry. Yep. Yeah, Caleb the Rodent.
Yeah, well, at least he's not running for Congress,
Not anymore.
Nope.
Nope, he's running. He's gonna run for Schatz's seat next session.
Yep.
I don't know. I think he'd fit in quite well in Congress, and it'd be a good way to get rid of him.
I know a better
Put
way
him in
to
a
get
place
rid
where
of
he's
him.
completely useless.
Yeah, I know a better way to get rid of him.
Yep, rhinos. There we go. We'll just call them rhinos. Everyone knows what that means. Republican in name only.
There's a lot.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem, is that gives a historical lie, because the Republican Party has never actually been conservative.
Yeah,
so
not
trying
truly.
to make a claim that they are conservative and that these are not Republicans, it's just historically inaccurate.
Yep.
It goes back to my least favorite president, Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Destroyer of
the
all
man
liberties.
who, yeah, the usurper of power and destroyer of state sovereignty.
Man, I bet Lysander Spooner had some migraines because of Lincoln.
Yeah.
But
Most
see, again,
definitely.
the Republican Party doesn't allow you to question God Lincoln. God Lincoln is perfect.
Nor the Democrats.
Well, nobody lets you question them either, because he freed the slaves, which that is
No, he didn't.
not the
He's
reason.
zero.
I know.
He's a
I
sacred
know.
cow. Lincoln's a sacred cow.
Yep, he
Right.
is.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But
We
see,
all
here's
know
the other
this
thing.
at this
So
point.
with this pro-COVID bill, you were saying that it will make them require them to give exemptions.
Well,
Here's the deal, though. They still are allowed to give accommodations that are not reasonable. Because that's what I'm going through right now. I've been granted an exemption. But the accommodation my company has provided is completely undoable.
yep, and then
Well, if I
it's
don't
like
sign it,
never-ending
no exemption.
testing, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's daily testing forever, and there's a clause in there that says whatever other things they come up with in the future, I'm agreeing to them right now.
Okay. Well, I think this bill deals with that too. I'll have to read it real
So
quick
that's what I
here.
said. We got to cover that loophole.
Yep.
Somebody should have just come up with a bill that says you can't fire anybody if they refuse to take jab. That would be the best way to do it.
Keep it nice and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, that
lines.
exists
You
too.
can't do this.
That's in there too. that bill also exists.
Yep.
Oh,
So
it does.
Promoted
yeah, oh,
like
there's
it should
more.
be.
There's more anti beer flu tyranny bills. This is the one that's been vetted already fully by Ron Calzone. So, and these are longer bills. These are not short bills.
I mean, I'll still go and push these, but we need somebody to just come up and say, hey, you can't get rid of it. In fact,
Also-
what would really be good, make it retroactive. Yeah, retroactive, I think would be the word. That anybody that lost their job gets it back.
Hey, Michelle.
With
Michelle
compensation.
Mamil is with us as well. Hey there, Michelle.
Hey,
Thank you for joining.
hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
The other thing too to know is when you're reading those bills in PDF, you look at the bold text, because the bold text is what has changed. The
Yep.
strikeout is what is removed, and the text that is in standard format, no italics, no anything, is what already exists.
Mm-hmm.
So when you skim through those, if you want to know what they're changing, you read the bold text.
Yep. Understood. And I knew that. But also
Oh,
too,
yeah.
Well,
I knew that
kind of
too.
cuts down the length.
Yep.
It cuts down the length of reading them.
yes, it does. And some of these senators and representatives are very proud of these bills. They just make them very wordy where they're not necessary. SEPA started out as a 5-page bill. It ended up being a 9-page law.
Mm-hmm.
And BH is with us. Rabid Coyote is with us. And I mentioned already we've got Michelle Mamil with us. So welcome to everybody. I don't want to start from scratch or anything, but we're already doing a call to action. Since we have more people joining us now, let me go back to Ron Calzone's Missouri First page. You guys look at the site here. It's mofirst.org. And by the way, this is right down below in the description section. Just click on the join button on Ron's Missouri First and fill out the information and get on Ron's email list. Believe me, everybody in Missouri that is a freedom lover, a Constitution lover, needs to have Ron as an ally. And Ron is up in Jeff City a lot. And when I say a lot, I really do mean it. So he has access to firsthand information. So here's an example of something, and I don't do that as much as Ron does. He goes up to Jeff City, and then he gets home and he writes up an email to everybody to tell them what's going on up there. So you get firsthand information very quickly, basically if you get on Ron's email list. And Ron is an ally. Ron is definitely a freedom lover, a liberty lover, and he has worked very hard for literally 25 years as a citizen activist. And he is a friend of mine, and then, definitely an ally as well. So please consider going to Ron's website, MissouriFirst.org, clicking on the join button. And it'll even say, where did you hear about Missouri First? You can go ahead and say, Pat Holland told me, or, it's the Missouri Freedom Initiative, or Casey Rich told me about it, or whatever. And that way you're kind of like pre-vetted, when you drop some names. Obviously, there's nothing in it for us other than freedom. And that's what we're all in it for anyway. Again, Susie Pollock's bill, House Bill 2009, is listed below. We're calling for everyone to get on the co-sponsor list for this bill. This is an anti-beer flu tyranny bill, and it has to do with religious, medical, and conscientious objections to the serum, and that the state has to allow it no matter what. There's no more vetting process for, a religious exemption. It's just a religious exemption. You just fill it out and it's done. So we need something like that to go through. There are other anti-beer flu tyranny bills coming down the pipe as well. The list of representatives here, these are the people you want to call here to promote the House Bill 2009. That is also listed down below. That's the roster. So please find your representative, give them a call, and make sure their name shows up on the co-sponsor list here for Susie Pollock's bill. Once again, HB 2009, and this ties into many other bills we'll be talking about in the coming weeks, which is anti-beer flu tyranny in the state of Missouri. Okay, I've been a bit long-winded. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Patrick, I also want to say something, too, is that it's going to be really important to be making phone calls and sending emails this year, because the thing the media is going to be covering the most is the redistricting.
Yep.
At least until that's voted on in February. So that's why it's really important, because these committees, if you're not paying attention, bills are going to get tossed left and right pretty quick.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, and also, too, I'd like to say, since we have more people joining us now, how important it is to get this done here in the state of Missouri, and what a good position we're in right now. A lot of folks are running for higher office. A lot of people are rerunning for the same office. And these are the years that you can actually get a lot of good things done, because these guys want to get reelected. And it's the off years where there's no election is where often a lot of them are just, douchebags. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but they tend to act a little bit nicer and do a little bit better job, and certainly promote the Constitution a little bit better when they're in the year that they're running for election. And of course, when you call an office and someone is short with you, just say, aren't you running for office again? I'm kind of surprised you're talking to me this way. So, don't be afraid to call them out on that junk too. And in fact, I've gone as far as saying, hey, listen, I'm going to dedicate my life to making sure you never hold public office ever again. I've said stuff like that to politicians before, and they don't like hearing that, believe it or not.
I will say one thing,
you're
though.
allowed to say stuff like that.
I mean, don't just call them up and go off on them for that.
No. Honey gets more fly.
They hear stuff like that all the time, and you'll just turn them off. But I mean, if they do get short with you or something like that, yeah, don't hold back. But then there's times, say they're stalling a bill or something, then you kind of step up the rhetoric a little bit, or the language, or whatever the word you want to use. Because I know, like, when that SAPA was stuck in Huff's committee last year, I sent him an email and said, hey, look, man, if this thing dies out in your committee, I know for a fact that between now and your reelection, I can go into your district at least one, if not 2 Saturdays a month and go through your neighborhood slapping flyers on doors, letting everybody know you let SEPA die in your committee.
Yep.
I'm not saying that alone got him to get it out of there. I'm sure everybody else calling him, but you can do stuff like that, and I would have done it too. I would have had no problem.
Yep. So, and once again, it all applies too. For those of you who, and by the way, I mean, some of the tactics I use are, somewhat disingenuous. I've been known to call people that are not my senator or representatives and say, I am a constituent. And that way I can, make more phone calls than just 2 that day.
Hey,
and
we're all constituents
that's correct.
in the state of Missouri. And all these representatives and senators that vote, their vote don't just affect people in their district. It affects everybody in the state of Missouri. That's just like that. I can't remember that Democrat's name, but I talked to his aide or whatever, and she's telling me, well, you don't live here in this district. Why don't you just take this up with your own senator? I was like, hey, this guy votes. It just don't affect people in his district. It affects everyone else. I said, none of the Republicans talk to me like that.
Well, that's another thing too, is it's interesting. If you call the Democrats' office, either a senator or a representative, they want to know your address. The Republicans don't do that, and
they're not stupid, man.
Yeah. And I literally am not trying to divide us here by saying that. I'm just saying there's the distinction between the 2 political parties up in Jefferson City.
Trying to help out the Democrats so they're not an endangered species. Tell them just be, treat people like people.
Yep.
I'm serious, man. They're like that. I mean, the Republicans are smart enough to know, even if you're not from their district, if you take the time to come up there and talk to them about something, they're smart enough to realize there's probably people in their district that know about this stuff too. If just some ordinary guy from somewhere just come all the way up to Jeff City and talk to them about it, they're probably like, you know what? There's probably a lot of other people know about this. This guy went and took the time.
One thing,
and that's why they don't, But the Democrats, man, they're just, I don't know, man. It's just their mentality. It's like I said, it's why they're an endangered species here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way they talk to people, man.
Yeah, just some wisdom too. Like if you're thinking about like running for a county seat or even like for a legislation district here in Missouri, it doesn't hurt to go check out both Republican and Democrat parties in those respective counties, because it's a good way of hearing both sides of what people are wanting, and then you can hopefully try to meet them in the middle.
It's hard for me to even think along those lines. No offense, Grant, but
well, yeah.
And the reason being is because I know when I go up to Jefferson City, which I do, I know that the Democrats want to know my address to even talk to them. The Democrats want me to wear a face diaper, just to talk to them. And I know that.
Yeah, I'm not even necessarily talking about in Jeff City specifically.
I got you.
In the local communities, because it is a little bit different. Not much, but a little bit different.
Yep. So, and then also, I'm not going to bring up names here, but there was a Democrat in Jeff City, and I'm not going to say House or Senate, that literally believes that if we don't all get the serum, that in 2 years the human race will die off.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is down.
That a person in that position would actually.
Yeah, and KC
where do you
Rich.
Get that from, man?
I swear to God, you were actually up there when I experienced that.
I know. You told me that.
Yep.
When you went and talked to the dude.
Yep. And I couldn't believe it. That's what the guy really thought. And so, I mean, they're clinging to bad science, to bad politics, to fear mongering and fear porn. Just clinging to all of it.
Careful! You can't say bad science on YouTube.
Scary.
Oh, that's right. Can't say. That's right. You know what? That's another great point. I don't mean to get us too far off track, but the truth is not afraid of scrutiny, but lies are. YouTube, what are you doing by censoring all these wonderful virologists, epidemiologists, and all these fine folk out there, even vaccinologists that are not allowed to participate on the YouTube platform, and they actually do this for a living.
Even Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yep. Okay, go ahead, Casey.
But
I'm sorry.
how about that? How about that one Democrat's office? We were talking to aides. It was that they're both two young kids, a guy and a girl. That office, remember that sign that was hanging on there's like a closet in there on that closet door?
Yes, I do.
It's about white privilege. It's like, really? You got that sitting there in your office?
Yep.
In Jeff City, and then you wondering why Democrats are an endangered species.
Yep. And also too, if I remember right, there was a Black Lives Matter poster.
Yeah, but I mean, you got two white kids in there working, and it says white privilege. If I was working there, I'd grab that thing and throw it in the trash can. Hey, no, I mean, that's insane.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Casey, because I know there's a lot of people that tune into the channel and that they believe in what we're doing and make phone calls and send emails, but they generally maybe can't go to Jeff City during the business day. And I get that. I understand that. But this is some of the nonsense we encounter up there when we go there. Like white privilege posters, Black Lives Matters posters. And once again, this is all in Democrats' offices. Not that I'm setting up divisions. I'm not doing the right-left paradigm thing here, gang. But
we're not. We're trying to help them out. Say, hey, you ever want to get more of your people in office? Start treating people who take the time. Start treating citizens who take the time to go up to Jeff City. Treat them like they're people. I mean, it ain't like you even got to do what they tell you. Just hear them out. You never know. They might say something you want to hear. But I mean, if somebody, I don't care where they come from, Missouri, if some average guy is taking the time to come all the way up there and talk to you about something, there's probably people in your district that know about that too.
Yep. So it's up to us.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it truly is up to us too, gang. It's up to us to go up there and not necessarily go up there, but make the phone calls and send the emails. If you want Missouri to be free, I mean, the politicians don't do that by default. They just don't. It takes us doing the work.
If we're not up there putting the pressure on them, there's going to be others up there putting the pressure on them.
Yep.
And if they're seeing them every other day and not us, who do you think they're going to start, you know what I'm saying, leaning towards?
Yep.
I mean, I hate to say that, but it is what it is. I mean, look at our governor.
Something's seriously wrong with our governor. He is siding with the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
He keeps.
That's what I'm saying. Once upon a time, he used to say, yeah, we got choice here. You don't have to get vaccinated if you don't want to, even though I wish you would. And then after a while, he just got it poised like, let's get everybody vaccinated. He didn't bother to say that. I mean, choice anymore. Yep. It's just like, I mean, that dude, seriously, he's not fit to be a governor. In this day and age, when you got all this stuff coming down from the federal level, he can't handle the pressure, man. He doesn't know how to take action or nothing. He might be all right being a sheriff of Mayberry or something, but
yeah. What I guess I figured was he was threatened somehow. That's the only thing that makes sense.
I just don't think he's cut out for it. He probably just thought when he got elected, he'd just drive around and go check out, do little speeches here and there and check out different things,
well,
kind of like he does.
I think one thing too, he was going to go to Israel, and Israel's is the testing site for one of the serums, so there is that as well.
Well, here's the deal, guys. If we remember, who's the one who's been fighting SAPA the whole time? Sheriff's Association?
Yep.
Police Association.
Correct.
And what was he?
Sheriff.
He was a sheriff.
Ex-sheriff.
Yep.
A lot of law enforcement don't like us having guns.
Yep.
They wouldn't be the only ones doing it. Not all of them, but a lot.
You know what? Not even as much the guns. What SAPA does, which is the real purpose of it, is being that our federal government's out of control. SAPA kind of takes the power away. Because, I mean, let's face it, the state and the feds work tight together. And the feds need the state to help them, so they got the manpower. And SAPA kind of separated that. That's the thing they really want. That's why, like, when you watch that 60 Minutes, they say, well, you got all these conservative lawmen who are so pro Second Amendment, yet they don't want SEPA. That's because we've cut into something they were getting.
That's correct.
And they
Civil
want
asset
that back.
forfeiture.
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
I'm not going to say, but I think everybody gets the idea.
Yep.
Is you had business as usual, and SEPA destroyed that business as usual.
Sure. And we're also finding out that the morals, the values, and the people who take oaths for office are not as they seem to be. Everyone seems to think their sheriff is a good guy. Call your sheriff. Find out whether or not he likes SEPA the way it is, or whether he thinks it needs to be tampered with. That's a good way to judge whether or not someone is actually truly a Second Amendment supporter. The right to bear arms.
Remember that sheriff's list? We've not this past year or 2021, but 2020.
Yes, I do.
Remember who put that together? Do they still have that?
That was the Missouri Sheriff's Association. However, they took down the list because we were using the list to call sheriffs throughout the state of Missouri. The Sheriff's Association has never put this list back up of all the Missouri sheriffs again, along with all their names, addresses, telephone numbers. They've never reassembled it. However, we did get a copy of it before it was taken down. So I do believe if I fish around, I could find it, and I'll make it presentable. In fact, I'll make sure that it gets on our website. I'll get a copy
put it on the website, because what we need to do, since the sheriffs are kind of laying low and letting the police chiefs handle this, because, you got election time coming up.
Yep.
We got to drag them into it, kicking and screaming.
Yep.
We need to be calling them, find out where they stand on it, and then put a list together on your website.
Yep.
That way we could, we can say this sheriff said he supported this or that or whatever, and
Yep, and remember now, if you have a police chief in your town that does not support SEPA, you don't just get rid of the police chief, you get rid of the mayor. Yeah, so that's how you deal with that kind of corruption. This is city corruption. That's bureaucracy. It's worse than a sheriff. Sheriff is an elected official accountable. That is not true with the police chief. The police chief is accountable to the mayor or city
They're
manager.
The ones that hire the chiefs.
Yep. So, and it depends on the structure.
The bigger cities.
Yep, on the bigger cities, usually you're right. It's a different form of government, but at any rate, that's how you deal with it. So you got to send a message to these cities. You guys want to, hire these guys to be police chiefs, and they're anti-constitutional, they're oath breakers, and you don't seem to have a problem with it. Well, that means we have a problem with you, and you must go as well. You're the person, responsible for this police chief. You need to go too. We're not messing around here, gang. We're going to start working on the oath breakers list on the website. That's the Missouri Freedom Initiative.com website. We're going to get oath breakers up there starting this week, and I think we're going to probably start with the gal who's tried to rip apart SEPA with 3 separate bills that she's put out.
Boy, she gets first place on that list, doesn't she?
Well, yeah, I was going to make it my own sheriff, Brad Cole. But he's not doing what she's doing.
I'm surrounded by sharks where I live, man.
Yeah, it's terrible up there in Kansas City, isn't it?
I know.
Okay, I'll get to your comments.
I'm from there too.
Yeah, Latanya. Hello, Latanya's chiming in. She says, "Let's recall him."
Lefties and illegal aliens.
Yeah, holy mackerel, man! It's time to hit the eject button on Kansas City. We got to get you out of there before we do it. It's kind of like Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, you're taking it back. Just don't become a pillar of salt. That's all I'm saying.
I want it the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Well, your mayor recently got sick, so.
Did your mayor get sick, Casey?
I thought she always was.
She didn't just recently get sick. She's been sick for many years. The wall of shame. That's right. Oathbreakers list is the wall of shame.
My mayor's a she.
Oh, you're in one of the suburbs. Okay.
I live in Independence. Oh, you talking about Kansas City? Kansas City, that's a dude running that too. In fact, he was on 60 Minutes saying how much he wanted to get rid of SEPA.
Yep.
Yeah, Mayor Lucas, he's a piece of shit. He's my mayor.
Defund the police, but hey, we want him to go back to business as usual. Basically what he said.
Pretty much.
It's a joke, man. I'm telling you, it's one big joke, one big sick joke.
He's a terrible individual.
Well, yeah, guy used to be there, Mayor Cleaver. He's my congressman now. They need to make Independence its own congressional district, or he'll be my congressman forever. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's.
Well, I do have a plan for a bill to propose for next year, and that is literally to just make the Missouri Senate representative of land and not people. So just the way it does
Senator for each county or something?
For each 3 counties, probably.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's kind of what they're doing now, ain't it?
No, it's not.
I mean,
It's based on population right now, and it's got to stop before Kansas City takes over the entire state of Missouri. We can't have that. No offense to you, Casey. We love you, man. But you're in a slightly liberal area up there.
Well, hey, I'm trying to, well, I don't claim to be liberal or conservative. Like you said, the Constitution. But I guess we could even argue that too, couldn't we?
We could.
But well, all I'm saying is, man, I ain't leaving. They're going to leave before I do. I don't run.
Latanya says, I wonder who we ask in Hurley. We don't have cops. If you don't have cops, then you go to your sheriff, by the way.
Even better, take care of yourself.
Yeah, if you don't have cops, buy weapons, man.
Yep.
Be your own security.
That's right, Latanya. You could be the cops of Hurley.
You and your neighbors get together, man.
Yep.
Put together a group.
Yep. And actually, it's constitutional, I imagine. I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. You have the right to self-defense. You want to offer people your service to help them with self-defense.
Castle Wash should cover
that. In Missouri, that falls under private security, and that sits in a weird category here.
Okay.
With castle adoption, though, if you're in your neighbor, your friend's house, you're covered, though, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking about things
as long as you're not being paid, you're not security.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, she says we kind of do that anyways. That's why everyone needs a 50 caliber. That way you can set up like a 1.5 mile perimeter around your house.
Yes. No, better than that. Need a 20 millimeter Vulcan. A 20 Anzo 20. There, that's the one.
Yeah, Michelle says be your own security, irregardless. I agree. Yeah, don't depend on cops or sheriff's deputies or whatever. That 911 call, it could take them 5-10 minutes to get out there.
Yeah, Missouri's mostly rural.
Yep.
I think I've already told you guys what I had to do to get a cop to answer anything around here.
I mean, some areas of the state you can drive 8 hours and still be in the state.
Yep. Well, it kind of. Because actually, from the Boot Heel to go up to the northwestern side of the state, I agree with you. That's about an 8-hour drive.
Exactly right.
There's another bill floating around. I don't know if you guys heard about this one yet, or even what your views are on it. I don't have the number up in front of me, but basically it's a representative in the St. Louis area. What it is, if you're a landlord, let's say you got somebody that's renting from you, and you find out they're an illegal alien, if this bill passes, you cannot turn them in, and if you do, you'll be subject to a penalty of $2,000.
Wow.
So let's say you rent to somebody. Let's say you rent to somebody, and they show that social security card and the driver's license. How those people get them, I don't know, because they won't tell me. But I've seen it so many times. And then a month later, you find out there's 5 cars parked around the yard and 10 or 15 people living in there.
Yep. You
can't turn them in under this bill, because if you do, then you could be subject to a penalty of $2,000.
Yeah.
Notice all these bills got these penalty provisions, but they want to take it out of SEPA.
Yep, that's right. And by the way, just so you know, and just so everyone here knows, those are Democrat bills where they're trying to put in these penalty options for people owning firearms. for if they're not registering
And
their firearms.
turning into illegal aliens that are taking over your property that you're renting to. Again, they seen that in SAPA and say, "Ooh, I like this.
Yeah.
We'll take it out of SAPA and we'll use it ourselves."
Mhm.
Yeah, and then be hypocritical and just decide to try to take it out of that.
Michelle says if this country
Ah.
wasn't so heavily armed, we would already be like Australia. I agree.
Oh boy, I missed a loop.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I missed a loop.
Maybe we'd already be like New York City.
Yeah, New York is getting bad. And we have Chaos Craig with us here tonight, is our roving reporter from New York. So, and he's listening in right now, but you're welcome to speak anytime you want to, Craig.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We're live on YouTube.
Yeah, New York's crazy. People standing around the block on lines to take tests for a cold virus, and then we've got, just a permanent crisis over here.
Yep. Aren't your emergency rooms full in New York with people with post-nasal drip?
I don't know about that.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I think of mainly just cases are through the roof.
Yep. Wow.
We got like a 33% positivity rate and 92% vax in New York City.
Yep, but a 0.004% death rate. Is that right?
I have to check what the most recent IFR is, but
okay.
I think it's a little higher than that on average, but it depends on your age group, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm sure there's an age group that has 0.04.
Kind of strange. Seems like more everyone gets vaccinated, the higher the rate goes of people catching it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Because it wanes. We have that Danish study and that UK study that show that has a negative efficacy as it wanes, and especially against the variants, it wanes faster against Omicron. Or that window of efficacy used to be 6 months against the Alpha, but now it's not even a month against Omicron. No, where we see the most vax, you see the most cases. That's definitely happening. But there's a lot of people testing and stuff also. I don't know if what the final IFR infection fatality rate is. We know that in the beginning, it was grossly exaggerated because they took the total number of cases they actually found and used that as their denominator, and then the total number of deaths, which anybody knows wrong. You don't have to be an epidemiologist to know that's wrong. And they took the total deaths as the numerator. So then that's how they got these retardedly high infection fatality rates of like 5%. But yeah, now we're debating. It looks like it might be like it might be 5% for people over 85, and then it's like not even measurable for people below 18.
Craig, I got to share this with you. My wife just watched a documentary, and it was on BitChute, and it was New York nurses during the original beer flu situation. And they were trying to tell the world the truth, but they kept getting deplatformed anywhere they went. And then ultimately they lost their jobs.
I'd like to see that documentary if you could send it.
Yep, I'll get it to you probably late tonight. If not tonight, I'll definitely get it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half long. I have not seen it, but I was told about it.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I'd like to always want to add more data points, see what the nurses were saying back then.
Yep. Actually, what they were saying is going to make you cry because they knew about the scandemic from day one. They knew about it. You remember
the wrong therapy?
Well, no. I mean, what we're talking about is the military tents put out in front of the New York hospitals empty.
Yeah.
About the refrigerated trucks empty that they claim were full of bodies.
And they brought that that hospital like cruise ship here empty.
Yep.
Didn't use it.
Yep.
I think they delivered a couple babies on it though.
Yep. And then before the pictures were taken in the COVID wards, they took a bunch of patients from all over the hospital and stuck them in the COVID wards for the photo op and then moved them back down to where they were supposed to be in violation of the sequestration to begin with.
Wow.
And, isolation. This is the kind of stuff they were trying to get out to the world, but Twitter would shut them down. Facebook, YouTube shut them down. Remember the two emergency room doctors from New York? One video got out, then that video got shut down, and those doctors lost their jobs.
Huh.
And
Yeah,
during
that's
the beginning of this, when they were saying that, well, you know what, we can't go any further than that before YouTube shuts us down. Once again, YouTube is part of the darkness. They don't want any light shown on YouTube. So,
Well,
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna post in the Discord links just so you have them for the most recent Peter McCullough interview we did with Epic Times. Really great stuff. Talks about all the latest therapeutic options. These inhalants and nebulized vapors
Yep.
and nasal rinses look like they're currently your best option.
Yep.
Honestly. The thing is to get it in the nose before it spreads to your lungs. That's really the key.
Yep. Well, also too,
Yeah, and
we
there's a
can't.
lot of other options too. But
Yep, we can't talk
once
about them
again,
though, Caleb.
YouTube.
You know that. Sorry,
YouTube.
buddy.
Yep.
Yep. We can't talk about vitamins. We can't talk about Ivor. We can't talk about Hydro. We can't talk about any of that stuff on YouTube because once again, you will lose or you'll get a strike and then ultimately use your channel because
Even if you
YouTube
have
is run by the CIA and they have
Even
ties.
if you have citation to medical literature.
Yep. And incidentally, YouTube does not have a problem about me exposing the fact that it is a CIA front company. Alphabet Inc. Well, it's actually Alphabet Inc. And then they own Google.
I wish we could live stream on Odyssey.
You know what? We need to go back into looking
You
into that.
can, but it's a weird way you have to do it.
Yep, it's blockchain. It's not server based, so it's difficult. It's different.
You have to basically have like 50 tokens or 50 what is that LBC coin in
Library
the account.
coin.
You have to apply that to the account itself.
Oh heck, I have 30. I have 30. I'd be willing to donate.
Actually, I think we have the tokens. We just never figured out how to actually set up the lives. We both got busy. Caleb and I were looking into this like 4 or 5 months ago, actually.
You want me to look into it? Because
Sure.
I'd be willing to do it.
Sure, absolutely. And we do have an
more
Odyssey
eyes, the
account.
better.
Yep. Springfield Cox posted
'Cause
pictures.
I'll tell you what, I've been using Odyssey more than YouTube now.
Yeah.
It's just there's
Same.
one I don't like Rumble because Rumble's gonna have the same problems down the line that people are having with YouTube. Just in
Yeah,
regards to their
particularly since it just became a
with their ownership structure, and then also with the locals aspect of it too. They'll censor stuff eventually.
Yep.
Even though they say they're not going to. I understand the human condition. So but blockchain,
they were done the moment they became a publicly traded platform.
Yep.
pretty
That's
much
recent.
Yeah, but the blockchain stuff and the way Odyssey's set up, like your videos are your own, and it's way more effective, and their setup is beautiful and it's very user friendly. So
Yep. And a lot of great information in the chat. Unfortunately, we can't say it vocally. Sorry about that, gang. I would love to talk about that. Once we stream on another platform, we'll be very, very open about all this data. And in fact, we know people in Springfield Cox and also Mercy that were that knew about the malfeasance with the news reports coming out of those hospitals. However, it's very important to state that they were told by hospital administration to keep their mouths shut, or they'll lose their jobs. So there was definitely malfeasance. I'm just going to say malfeasance for now. So that was happening in the Springfield area. I talked to a nurse up in the Kansas City area that basically said the same thing. Same thing was going on up there. It was hospital administration. So, and by the way, if you guys are not familiar with the alternative routes right now for getting treatment, there's 417 doctors. Consider looking into that if you're in the area.
Earlycovidcare.org.
What's that?
Earlycovidcare.org.
Yep, there's a lot of them, yeah. But this one's specific to our area.
Frontline doctors.
Yep, and frontline doctors, yep.
Don't wait till you can't breathe.
Yep, that's right.
Because that's what the NIH says, and you could automatically assume anything they say is wrong. So that's a good starting point for any.
Okay. Anyone have any idea what's going on with the Supreme Court right now? And they're hearing cases on the 7th. Is that right, Craig?
Yeah, 7th. We're waiting
Okay.
for that.
Do we know what cases they're going to hear first? There's a lot of
They're
stuff
going-
on the plate right now.
I don't know, but they're going to revisit the stay order. They might even reinstitute it on the 7th.
Hmm.
It seems all the legal arguments are around whether or not the federal government has the authority to do such a thing.
Mhm.
I don't know if any of the legal arguments include, how it's unscientific, but we're kind of on. We're moving on from alpha, and we're on to Omicron, and doesn't really make sense to use a flu shot for something that's 2 years ago now. And
Well, they forgot the Winnie the Pooh variant. So.
The Winnie the Pooh variant.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. But they
Careful now, don't trigger the Tigger.
Yeah. We got to be careful. Got to be ever so careful. Because YouTube is CIA, by the way. Guys, YouTube doesn't care about me talking about them being CIA. They've never threatened me with a lawsuit that the two guys that started Google were hired out of college, by the CIA. They're recruited to become a CIA front company, a technology company. When they bought YouTube, basically they started censoring. And of course, the United States government's not going to go against their very own CIA. So at any rate, that's the problem. The truth doesn't mind being exposed. Only lies do. That's why we have censorship on YouTube. They literally don't want the truth out. They don't want it out on their platform anyway. So, but you're right, Grant. If you look into Odyssey and get back with me, Grant, you have my cell phone number, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, call me when you figure that out.
Will do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And as always, I appreciate everyone who does anything to help out because I'm swamped most of the time. So it's very much appreciated. So, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're almost at an hour and 30 minutes. So anyone have any final things you want to talk about right now on this particular live stream? Remember now, on Wednesday this week, the General Assembly meets in the state of Missouri. So it's time to start making those phone calls and sending those emails. You can do that now, and they'll be returning your calls and your emails literally,
Patrick,
yeah.
Can we highlight Mike Moon's Senate bill?
Sure.
Yeah, I forgot what the bill number is. The one about picking and choosing what federal laws to enforce.
Okay. Oh, gosh darn it, yes. We already promoted that one, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
You know what? All these bills we've been discussing, you should put them down below in the show notes.
I do. They already are.
Oh, they already are?
Yep.
Okay. I haven't looked yet. All right, cool.
Let's
I was
see.
just saying it's a good reminder because with all that, because I think like the House does a lot of great work, but I'd rather keep a flame. I would rather keep a torch under the Senate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important. By the way, it looks like it's Senate Bill 956. It's pre-filed legislation for 2022, and it prohibits the enforcement of any federal regulation by State Department or agency until the enforcement is approved by the General Assembly. In other words, if the federal government decides to do an OSHA move, we simply don't acknowledge it in the state of Missouri until the General Assembly says yay or nay to it. That's an example. It's one of many examples. You can use the ATF as an example, too. Or the IRS.
Nice.
Or the EPA. Yep. So kudos to Mike Moon for that, and we definitely need to promote this bill as well. Once again, Senate Bill 956, and that's Mike Moon's bill. So
start calling rodent tomorrow.
Yep. Oh my goodness, that's right. You've got Caleb the rodent.
I do.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy.
Ew.
It's okay. Sometimes I get an office aide to pick up, and other times this goes right to voicemail.
Yep. Hey, Rabid Coyote is wishing us all a happy 2020 2.0. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. That's a good one.
2.0. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's precious. I'm stealing that one, by the way, Rabid Coyote, and I'm not going to give you credit either. That's pretty awesome. Thank you.
That's sad. Oh man,
Yep, but it's so
it's
true.
really sad.
it is very true, but it's very sad.
Yep. So I'm going to start making phone calls tomorrow. I got a little bit of time tomorrow. I got about an hour. And it's my lunch hour, actually, because I'll be working tomorrow. But I'm going to go ahead and make phone calls tomorrow. I'm going to, I need to, and by the way, as far as Mike Moon's bill goes, we can definitely support it. But do you know if there is a House companion bill to this one, Grant? So we can get co-sponsors? That's the reason I'm asking specifically.
I do not know for certain. I mean, the only reason I knew about it is because Mike Mahari wrote about it.
Okay.
And he didn't. Mike, when SAPA was announced back in just a year ago when it was pre-filed in the Senate, because originally it was I forgot what the Senate bill was. It 31.
Okay.
It was something like that. But he did mention all the complementary legislation in the House too with it, but I didn't see anything similar to that in the House. I would be willing to call Basie and see if he'd be willing to do something similar.
Actually, I can probably get a hold of Jared King tomorrow. Or I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not Jared King. I'm sorry, Jared. Taylor. Thank you.
Jared Taylor.
Yep,
yeah,
that's
Taylor he would definitely do it.
Yep. And so yeah, Jared would definitely take that. He would take that by the horns, big time. That's a very powerful bill that Mike has. The only reason I'm saying this, gang, and it's not because we can't support the bill, it's just they generally don't do co-sponsorship in the Senate. And co-sponsorship shows activist activity. So that's why we tend to concentrate more on House bills early and then Senate bills later. That's why we do that. So co-sponsorship is very important. That's, the people's house. That's where the representation shines through co-sponsorship. Okay, let's see. Everyone's saying good night and everything, and yep, we're gonna wrap it up here pretty quick. But yep, thank you for reminding me about Mike Moon's bill, and we'll give that one attention too. We'll get to all of this stuff. And yes, it's going to be an explosive legislative year. Just because the sheer amount of grassroots that have come up this summer because of the big C, the beer flu, and the tyranny coming around it, people getting tired of it, and realizing now that the best way to deal with it is nullification, literally nullifying federal law with your state legislature. That's how you do it. It's the easiest, most efficient way to get it done. Let's see. Get Senator Bob Onder on the phone about Moon's bill as well as the exec. Okay. Yeah, and Bob Onder, he's great. In fact, I've talked to him multiple times. He's a good man, real good man, actually. Okay. Anything else left on the table here we need to talk about tonight, guys?
Not
Oh,
really
hey,
that I
yeah,
can think
I
of,
want to say something.
Oh.
Yeah, I got something. Yeah, I posted in the chat,
Sure.
but a while back. But Senator Rick Bratton caught some grief for having his family pose with guns.
Okay.
And I'd just say everybody should call his office and tell him how great that was, and don't let those people discourage you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Send him an email. So if he's watching tonight, I'm gonna say, hey man, next one you ought to do is do a video of all you guys firing them off.
Yep. Yep. So you talk about
We
Rick.
got your back.
Rick Bratton.
Senator Rick Bratton.
Yep, a good man, another good man. Yeah, we have a lot of really, really fine folk up in Jeff City. We just have a few turds in the punch bowl up there.
He just put out a photo, I guess, I don't know if it was on his Facebook page or what, and just him and his family posing, holding their guns and stuff. And I guess he caught a lot of grief from some corporate media for it.
Yep.
And I heard him saying stuff like, well, it wasn't meant to, you know, hurt anybody or anything like that. And I would say this to Rick, man, don't ever talk like that. Never apologize for anything like that. Yeah, you're not hurting nothing.
He just took a page. He just took a page out of Massey's book. That's all he did.
Yep.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, you should never say, "Well, it wasn't intended to be bad." I just say, nothing wrong with it. Just stand up and say it, man. This is Missouri. I mean, this is the safest state. Yeah, you ain't got to apologize to those people.
Yep.
Like I said, you need to do a video where everybody's firing them.
Yep.
Followed up with that. Then if they want to make something out of it, just, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
So what?
Okay, Caleb, any final thoughts?
Let's see here. Not that I can think of right now. I'm tired and I'm trying to do this.
Yep, I know. I appreciate you joining us, even though you're working in your vehicle tonight. That's dedication, man.
What are you?
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, and before here, I'll show you what I'm doing here. It's. No, if it'll flip around, that'd be nice. There we go. All new leather, stitched in.
We can't see anything. You turned off your camera.
No, it's on. I see it.
I flipped it around.
Huh. Oh, I clicked the camera now. I see.
Oh yeah.
You're doing your steering wheel. Okay.
Yep.
All new leather. I'm almost done here. I'm putting this last line in.
Nice.
And it's gonna cinch down. It's gonna look like this.
Shit, I can barely get those things on the steering wheel. I never even bothered to stitch them.
Well, you're supposed to. The one you're talking about, the slip-on ones. This.
Yep, but I'll tell you. Hey, Caleb, I'm sorry, man. Let me go ahead and end the live stream here before we go back to your truck. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Very important. Like I said, Wednesday the 5th, the General Assembly meets. So it's up to us now, gang. If we want a free state, it's up to us. We have to act. And it's on us to make phone calls, send emails, and make visits when appropriate. And believe me, when it's appropriate or when it's really needed, I'll let you know. So, and usually this early in the year, it's not critical. Go ahead, Casey Rich.
The committees, now is that on the House and Senate websites?
Yes, they are.
Something?
Yep.
That's another thing, people. Check those committees. See who's chairing them.
Yep. So, and well, actually, it'll take a little bit before things even get assigned to committees. It's going to be at least a week or two.
Check it out now, though. Get ready. That way, as soon as they start, we can be on them, man. We need to have them going. Damn, we can't do nothing without these people tracking us.
Yep.
We need to be on them like the NSA. I mean, they track us. Let's track them back.
Yep. You got some people.
NSA.
That's right.
Yeah, some people complimenting you on your handiwork in there, Caleb. By the way, in the YouTube chat. Okay. Well, thanks again, everyone.
Leather work.
Yeah, that and also too, it's a nice night for it. So poor Caleb out in the cold doing this. But thanks again for joining us.
I got a space heater in here.
Yeah, there's a space heater in the back seat. I saw that. Thank you all for joining us. Let's get busy now. Let's roll up our sleeves, as Voodoo said earlier. It's time to roll up our sleeves and get the good work done. And KC can't do it all by himself. Neither can Caleb. Neither can me. Neither can Michelle. It takes all of us actually pitching in and making those phone calls and sending those emails. You guys know where to go. It's in the link down in the description section, the roster for the House. And in the next video we do, we'll have the rosters permanently posted for the Senate and the House in every single video. So you'll never have to go searching for it. It'll just be right there. And also we'll post them on the website as well. Also look forward to the website having our very first Oathbreaker, and that will be a rep from Kansas City, by the way. So that should be on the website later on this week. Okay, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate your time. You guys all take care, and may God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you, gang.
Auf Wiedersehen.